Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute
He
that
should
might
be on
otherwise
that
be
show on
infringed.
MTV. He's actually
Nonprofit,
catfish
educational, or
young
personal
women.
use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
In fact, Barstool Sports wrote about this. Jeff Nadeau is being accused of catfishing online. But is it true? Now, this actually happened back on October 28th, 2022. It was a Friday. And essentially what had happened was a girl who attended the University of Alabama at the time, I believe she was a freshman or sophomore, she was on TikTok telling a story that she was on Tinder, one of those apps. She started talking to a young guy, good-looking guy, according to her. They developed a little bit of a chemistry, and they talked for a while. The guy wouldn't talk on the phone, and eventually at the end of the conversation, the person sent a picture of me. So the thought was, is Jeff Nadeau catfishing young girls from the University of Alabama? Nothing wrong with that. If I were, they're of age, they go to college. That said, it was a big thing in the Barstool universe. In fact, I remember I went on Twitter Spaces that day. I had thousands of people watching. It was so popular, I actually was trending on Twitter in the United States. I was number 27 overall in the United States. It was so popular. But as good as an investigator as I was, I knew I didn't do this because I don't have Tinder, or at the time I didn't have Tinder. And number one, I wouldn't do that because I'm never going to go to the University of Alabama. The only time I would do that is if, let's say I'm going to Chicago. Maybe I'd try to find a girl in Chicago to link up with, something like that. Throw in the fact that, no offense, but that girl isn't exactly my type. So the question was, who exactly did this? Well, I did a little investigation, and guess what I found out? It was actually a kid in Tennessee who I guess was a fan of mine, was trying to troll somebody and make it look like I did it. And what I actually ended up doing is I got in contact with the brother of the girl who was catfished. She ended up telling him who I was. I worked for Barstool Sports. Dave Portnoy started tweeting about it. I ended up getting in contact with her. I felt really bad about it, that it had happened to her. Someone basically, was messing around with her. And she was a cool girl. I ended up having a FaceTime with her later that night. Here we are on FaceTime. In fact, Dave Portnoy commented on it and said, "This man don't miss." And what was so funny is we actually had some more fun with this whole storyline because it was a very viral thing. I remember the day it happened. It was crazy. The week later, I actually went up to the office in New York City, and we actually did a lie detector test to prove my innocence. That video can be seen on Barstool Sports' YouTube page, which has about 2 million subscribers. So did Jeff Nadeau catfish? Well, no. In fact, we've known for over 3 years I didn't. But for the people in here, it's a pretty easy way to say, that weird looking guy Nadeau with the haircut? Yeah, he catfishes. Guys, I know this is hard to believe, but I noticed on MobTube, I can't be a man ever. I can't stick up for myself. If I do, I'm a pretend wannabe wise guy. The truth of the matter is, guys, I'm a man, just like all of you. And I know this chair makes me look a little short. I'm actually pretty normal size, but that's at any rate. Catfish, unfortunately not. That was proven false several times, and we actually had a lot of fun with it. Ended up being a few different scenes we had in some of the stuff we were doing at Barstool at the time. So maybe the PI finds that. Sorry, it's untrue. If it was me too, I would definitely tell you. I will absolutely tell you. Period. Like, I'm going to LA in a couple of weeks. I went to LA last year. I was on Tinder trying to get girls in LA. 100%. I definitely do that. Do I use catfish pictures? No. Because I never understood that whole catfish thing. I want them to know it's me. Some people know who I am. I want people to see this beautiful face. Wouldn't you? I don't understand, because eventually I'm going to have to meet them. It's almost like telling a girl you have a big you-know-what, and then you meet them, and they're like, well, why'd you lie? There's one thing about me, folks, that you'd always know. If it's going to be found on me, it's out there. Okay? I have nothing to hide. If I had a small you-know-what, why would I say I have a big one? Eventually, I'm going to have to prove it. So, strike one. PI might find that I'm a catfish. Not true. They also may find out that I was fat. In fact, we all know that. Here's me, a readily accessible picture. If you go on Google and just type in Jeff Nadeau fat, it's there. I had a period of my life where I was around 350 pounds. This is what I look like now. I know some of you will use that photo, but I think it's more